Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Will. We are live. So hopefully you're having a great day. You are enjoying your Friday afternoon. How's everybody doing? And we're going to jump into it real quick. We're going to go over some stocks that did some really nice moves today towards the end of the day today. And let's get into it. So, a couple stocks to be watching right now. Let's see here. I see Tristan in the chat. What's going on, Tristan? Can you hear me? See me okay? We're good on the live video? Okay. All good. Cool, cool. All right, Johnny. What's going on, Johnny? All right, Marty's here. What's going on, Leonardo? Can you check PLUG? Leonardo says. Hey, Matt. How's it going, Matt? And Jer James is here. What's going on, Jer James? LAES. All right. Already seeing the ticker symbols roll in here. Let's get into it. Let me just get a quick drink of water before we kick this thing off here. Okay. And I have a cat on my lap right now. But we're going to get into it. All right. All right, how's everybody doing? How's everybody's Friday? Doing well? Happy Friday from Kevin. Happy Friday from Johnny. We say happy. It's like market day. So brace ourselves for the disappointment of not being able to trade the markets this weekend. I feel like sometimes like the market comes up and we're once it closes, we're like, okay, back to normal or not normal. It almost feels off, right? All right, and Abed says, could you go over LAES? Jer James says MSTY. All right, which one do you want, Jer James? Do you want MSTY? Do you want PLA? Do you want LAES? Which one do you want, man? Got two people on LAES. Appreciate you for tuning in. Let's get it. So, first one we can drop into here, Big Bear AI, continuing that uptrend, really making the most. It was a while back we had a 3-stage to reversal where we were watching this very consistent downtrend on Big Bear, where it was downtrending, and we were looking for this reversal to kick in right around 475, 465. We had a reversal kick in about a week ago, and since then we see it continue up 11% just today, up to that $7 price point. That's right, we got back to $7. So previously, before earnings, that's where it was. So we cracked $7 on the dot right here, Big Bear AI. So Big Bear is up 11% today. We do see some defense companies, especially with the big beautiful bill, seeing some momentum into this week. So not just that, with Big Bear, one of the things that you guys might see, and we talk a lot about the berry scan because we go to the airports and get my face scanned, and I'm like, look, it's changing the way that we chew gum, right? Warren Buffett says, if something changes the way you chew gum, in this case there, the flight attendant says, hold still a second while we scan, and I had to stop chewing my gum. That is a moment of disruption in a technology. And we've seen them at Denver. We saw them at LAX when I was just flying out of there. And so we know that that's kind of one of the big drivers of the stock. But the other driver, and you might see it in the thumbnails now, which shout out to Yoga. My guy Yoga on our team is absolutely crushing the thumbnails. I used to do a very simple picture of just a chart or just a news article or just some value that the company brought to the marketplace. But now we have a picture of me with behind me an AI an AI scan of the ships behind me in the Panama Canal. I mean, that's an awesome thumbnail. And as you can see here, that's the deals that Big Bear is also coming through with, is they're partnering with companies on building the AI monitoring of everything that's going on in the Panama Canal. So what people don't like about Big Bear and why the sentiment is still crushing, but is still it's still doing very well, but what people have been hesitant about are the financials. What we kind of came to a realization about and dug deep into was this net income negative was very much on paper, and that their actual negative net income was not as bad as what appeared to be on paper. And we actually saw their assets go up. And so there was actually not too bad of a financial outlook. And we've been saying that since the quarter, but I know when everybody stopped covering it and then everybody's freaking out after this earnings dip, which I wasn't freaking out because we were just talking about it this morning in our stock meet live trading session, how the process over the points. Rory McIlroy, he's an amazing golfer, one of the best in the world, was asked, how do you keep such a cool when you have to make this shot to win the tournament? And he says, every shot I look at the process and not worry about the points, process over points. And the same thing is in our investing. So even though in that initial trade, I think long term we're up on Big Bear, but we had a trade going when Big Bear dipped here, and we were down about, I don't know, it was probably about $10 to $15,000 live on stream right in front of you. You could see it. But we just saw the sentiment, and I said, I think that this is something institutions are not going to look the other way. And we did see institutional holdings really increase. So Big Bear started to see that push up more. And according to our analysis too, it was actually looking, this was from earlier today on the next day, the projection from Regetti, which is our AI software, was $7.04 today. At the beginning of the day when we did the analysis, or it was already up to $6.70 when we did this analysis in our earlier video. And I remember I was like, wow, it's still projecting it to go up to $7, and it continued. Part of the thing was the technicals, the AI boom we're in, and also the rate cuts. But I think one of the things that it noted was the institutional holdings really increasing recently. So that was something that I thought was really interesting because institutions bought more. Okay, so they're also getting ready for like the FIFA World Cup and the 2028 Olympics with all the people that are coming in and out of the US. That Veriscan technology is most likely going to be heavily useful for Department of Defense contracts that they got or things like that. So that's why they're doing well. All right, let's jump in. So next stock, what do we got here? Okay, so we got, Abed says LAES. Okay, so we can take a look at Quantum. Johnny says Redwire. Ooh, I want to go over Redwire and Lunar. But all right, Abed, let's do LAES. Let me know though, why LAES? What are you watching today that's got you following LAES right now? Let's jump into it. First one, nuclear, or not nuclear, that's over in Quantum. That's a cybersecurity company. There they are. They were up 18% today. Let's take a look. All right, so you can see that level there. We had a previous support level here. They made a reversal. Next resistance here. It's always nice when we do resistance in the past because it keeps it easy for when we come back. You could see this resistance level here that we had mapped out back in early summer last time we were looking at them. This is a company that in the market of quantum market is growing fast. LAES, we'll pull up their financials and we'll pull up their press release. Here we go. So they specialize specifically in quantum and oh, that's cool. They're in Switzerland, Geneva. We were potentially going to go to that. I've never been to Switzerland. I saw that. I got some invites actually from someone at IBM to go potentially do like a have a meeting or a talk or something there. But LAES is quantum cybersecurity. They are very much like, I would say, pretty far away from where we're going to see the developments of their tech. They have around $3 million per quarter right now. Revenue kind of dropped off after 2023 from 30 million a year. And they haven't reported earnings here. And it looks like the last earnings, they had guidance of about $20 million in the year of 2025, which is still less than 2023. So they're still not having that income really pile in. But their quantum cybersecurity, they do have some total assets at 97 million in total assets. Current market cap's at 537. They're just extremely undervalued from like a long-term perspective, but extremely overvalued when you look at their market cap to their total assets and their revenue right now. There are companies like CTM stock that have way more in assets, like over 100 million, and then revenue is like 15 million a quarter, and their market cap's still at 100 million. This company is at 537 million market cap, and they're bringing in like not even a quarter of that of CTM. So, you know, when you look at the valuations, obviously there's that. When you look at what they're doing and they're building out for quantum right now, there's definitely some potential for them to be a player in the cybersecurity space. But I personally don't invest in them because of the sheer lack of growth on the financial side right now. But I could say the same thing about Regetti, and I still invest in that. So maybe that's bias, right? Because I invest in stocks that haven't shown full revenue sometimes. But as far as LAES goes, it's kind of up to you, right? Because they have, their whole thing is quantum is going to be a threat. We're building cybersecurity for the quantum threat. I personally found a lot of their stuff to be like a lot of 3D stuff, 3D imaging on their site. And I was looking for real world usage. I was looking for real showing where they were using it in the real world right now, versus like, here's where the market's going. There's hackers. We're going to be protecting the threat to hackers. So I don't know about LAES for that reason. I'm just not fully convinced. But they're at a resistance right now, looking to break out above about $4.30. The RSI, the MACD are looking overbought currently, and potentially will get rejected at this previous resistance level here. Last time they pushed up to $4.25. They pulled down all the way back down to about $2.28. So that's what's going on with LAES there, Abed. Yeah, resistance level right there, 430. That's where they're at right now. Cool. Okay. Marty's here. Marty says UAMY. That was one. And then MSTY. Let me go in order so I don't miss it. Or can everybody comment there? Comment one more time the tickers they want to see. I want to make sure you're here and that I can cover it for you. And why. We'll make sure we get a good analysis for the ticker you got. Matt Evans came in with T-Gen. Let's take a look at T-Gen. We have that on our watch list. Where is that in? Is that in data centers? T-Gen is up 16% today. I've done some analysis of this stock. T-Gen. Tecogen. Okay, energy. So they're building some energy. Natural gas engine turns a generator to make electricity. Heat from the engine is recovered as usable hot water. Electricity is fed into building, reducing the facility's electrical consumption and utility bill. That's pretty cool. I like it. So cold water comes in. It's an engine here that's powered by natural gas, but it's highly efficient, and that all the heat gets captured and uses for hot water to the building or heat recovery, heat exchanger, exhaust gases. Surprised they don't use the heat to power something that creates movement. I feel like there would be more excess heat that creates movement that would then be converted into electricity. But they do drive a generator. So there is that. But I wonder if they lose heat. How much hot water do you need for a data center? Okay, so that's cool. Products. All right, so they have their engine here. It's kind of cool. I always like to see a unique product that seems to be operating, trying to operate in the future. When it comes to investors news, let's take a look, Matt. So, vertical farm daily, cutting utility costs by 50%. Okay, natural gas is seeing a surge right now. There's a few publications here that they've had out. Those look very dated. I don't know what's going on with those. Press releases, though. Financial results came in. What were they? Market cap's at $259 million, and they have a revenue of about $7 million a quarter, bringing in, declining year over year, but about $22 million a year, on course to actually in 2025 bring in about 30 million. So they are on track of increasing revenue, as revenue is up 54% year over year. So they are in this year over year, just from last year, starting to increase revenue. Have they ever seen over 30 million? No? Okay. So they're doing better. This is their best year ever for revenue. Okay. Net income is up 4%. Matt, you got total assets at $28 million. Total liabilities at 19 million. So they only have equity of about 9 million bucks. Revenue 7 million. Market cap 259 million. It's good. I think it could be better. I don't want to repeat ourselves and stuff, but like, for example, I think there's a few ones we've been watching. Like, if I compare this here to like CTM, and you look at a stock that has a market cap on the left of 100 million and on the right of 259 million, which is the company you want us to look at here, Matt, Tecogen. For example, like CTM is bringing in $14 million a quarter, twice as much revenue as Tecogen. So financially, not only are they bringing in twice as much revenue on CTM, but their market cap is less than one half of Tecogen. So just like way more efficient on the left there. Balance sheet, you can see CTM's at 43 million, whereas balance sheet over on Tecogen is at 28 million. But equity wise, Tecogen has about 9 million, and equity on CTM has 31 million. So like almost every financial piece, CTM seems to be outperforming. CTM is in cybersecurity and software and defense for the government. However, just to look at market caps of what are favorable versus what the revenues are, sometimes that's helpful for you. So aside from that, they also have some new charting going on where they have consistently uptrended since, is that IPO? Yeah. So they IPO'd back here. that's part of why they're probably trading at a higher valuation, and that they're in the energy space, potentially probably powering data centers. So you see them kind of trend up here. Yeah, RSI MACD now looking on the overbought side currently. They were up 16% today. So when you see a move like that, it's a nice indication that they're starting to go bullish. Near term probably looks more like a pullback. Longer term, I'd say they're a pretty cool company to watch. I would just like to see more revenue given where their market cap's at right now. But yeah, I think it's just depends on too what you know about the company, the products, what you like about them. Awesome. All right, and then we got some other tickers here. We got AI said DVLT. Let me see. There was someone. Jose said Regetti. So Regetti, we did some breakdowns of Regetti this morning in a video, Jose, and we also have some positions in it. It's at an all-time high. It hit $29 today. Yeah, 29 bucks. 29 bucks a share. We're up 172% on that trade. It's just, and that's just the shorter term play. The longer term in Schwab has been crazy. We started covering this, and a lot of investors actually put me onto this stock. They were like, I had this investor friend who kept calling me and said, Will, are you looking at the quantum companies, and does it resemble anything that could be as impactful as GPUs? And I said, let me look. We started looking at it. He has got a couple million in his portfolio, and he told me he was allocating into it. This was back around like $1 a share. We started covering on the YouTube channel around $1 back in October. I think it might have been under $1. Since then, it's up to 28 bucks today. So, we've seen it basically 28x. It just in less than a year. So of course, it's looking overvalued at the moment, right? I mean, of course. And so, yeah, I mean, that's really it. We could see it pull back down for sure. But when you have something as hot as Regetti and the rest of the quantum market, you don't know. Expect volatility on the near term and the short term. You can trade it if you want to go bullish on the short term. But when it comes to like the long term, I'm just holding Regetti. We hold IonQ, QBTS. We just, long term hold those stocks. But I mean, we definitely trade Regetti. We just haven't traded it this week, aside from what we were already holding in some medium term and long term positions. The nearest resistance level is at 26 bucks. So that's probably the next level that if it sells down to, it's going to be targeting. So upside, I don't have any answers for you. So I just don't know. Do you know? Anybody know? All right. What else do we got here? Johnny says Redwire is a must. All right, we'll take a look, Johnny. All right, and Cardman says Redwire. I'm holding a short-term position, average of $8. All right. We'll take a look. Let's do it. And Phantom Drifter says I got APLD, made a nice profit. Now I'm in Warner Brothers Discovery. I need a bidding war coming for them. Awesome. Cool, man. Glad that you're able to make money with us on APLD. Tremendous. Matt Evans, data center chillers, partnerships with Dell. And what company was that, Matt? Was that the Tecogen? Got it. Interesting. That is interesting. Thanks for sharing that one, Matt. Okay. So what was it? It was Redwire. That's the one. All right, let's jump into Redwire, Cardman21, and also Johnny. So we're going to go over to Space Tech, okay? Our Space Tech watch list has been heating up recently. Black Sky was up 8% today, up to $21 a share. ASTS is up, but Redwire, let's take a look, was up just 0.46%. Now, we are a holder of Redwire. We also traded it earlier this week. We got into a trade down here at market open on the 18th. I think it was it yesterday? No, it was here. September 17th, we traded Redwire. We had a really good trade back there on September 17th. We bought this dip down here, and then since then, from 773, it's risen over the last 2 days to now $8 again. It has an $8 support level. There is a pretty strong support level. But here's what you need to know about Redwire. Okay, as it's in this kind of downtrend and in the near term looking to recover, but on the long term it has an uptrend. You could kind of see this market cap build. We've seen it previously up into the $16 range and $26 range. When I was talking with Redwire at a conference, Air Force Research Laboratory was one of their main partners. I got to have a conversation with about Redwire. And one of their engineers told me that Redwire was one of the only companies that was focusing on building out tech for not LiDAR, but extremely huge, like very huge cameras that are able to track space events in real time. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So we started to follow them. They acquired some military or defense companies. They bought AirTech, Edge Autonomy. So they're in the right market around the big, beautiful bill right now as defense spending is getting ramped up. But they also, I think one of the things that they do really well is just their financial management. When we look at their newsroom, they did come out with some news about 2 weeks ago for a $25 million contract. Okay, 25 million with NASA. That was a press release direct from the source. And then they also they're starting to build a facility over in Albuquerque, which I was just at about 2 weeks ago. And there's definitely a lot of space companies out there. I was at a quantum conference out there, and it seems to be heating up. But what drives Redwire? There's two things that drive Redwire. The first is Redwire and iSpace US signed this commercial lunar exploration mission deal. And this was back at the conference. I was actually here behind the camera when they signed this. I'm not pulling your leg here. I was actually at this event. One of 14 prime contractors in a $2.6 billion deal through 2028 is Redwire. So Redwire is getting a piece of this $2.6 billion deal. Why is that big? Well, first of all, their market cap's at 1.2 billion. So just kind of a note for Johnny as well and Cardman21 on Redwire. We're looking at the income statement. The revenue's been kind of like low, but increasing year over year. 44, 137, 243, 300 million in 2024. 2025, they're on track to be in the same ballpark. And so when we look at the balance sheet, you see revenue increasing, okay, for the most part, year over year, up 24%. Total assets were not good in 2024, but they jumped in 2025 to 1.5 billion in assets. So they got 1.5 billion, and they're part of that $2.4 billion deal. And their market cap is lower than both of those numbers individually. And the market cap is just 1.23 billion. So they do have some upside from a financial perspective in the space tech world. And so right now, I would say nearest look for Redwire would be before they break out, which they haven't been able to break out of this downtrend yet. But they are bearish right now. You see this sell-off here? They're bearish right now. So when we see a sell-off but volume is high, that is indicating they are bearish. So they're holding below this EMA line, which in a bearish momentum, you're going to see that blue line. It's going to be holding below that blue line for the most part, that EMA. They're holding below it. And although the financials look quite bullish and the news looks good, the chart right now is seeing downward pressure. They're going to try and hold this support here around $7.75 or $8 a share. You can see that level. And in the trend they're in, I would be led to believe they're going to make this 8% swing back up here and not just continue to sell straight down. Too much institutional attracting value with Redwire that I believe they would just continue just selling off. A lot of institutional attracting value. Almost always, this is a Benjamin Graham move, Warren Buffett's mentor. He literally, like, people like literally give us their formulas. Warren Buffett literally gives formulas out for how he looks at companies. And one of the things they look at is the market cap lower than their assets? And if the answer is yes, that means they're probably undervalued. So that's the case with Redwire. Most likely going to see some institutional attracting value. Long term, I think they're great. They're going to continue back up at some point into this $20 range. Most targets from analysts are $22. But short term, again, they're in that downtrend, trying to recover back up to $8.50. So that's how Redwire looks right now. AI is here. Elvis is here. Elvis says lunar, LUNR. We could take a look while we're here. Let's take a look. Lunar stock, that's a good one. And then let's see. Kevin says Regetti is king. I know. I had Kevin. We talked about Regetti, didn't we? When we had Kevin, one of our subscribers here, was like, "Dude, we have to go to lunch. We got to go to lunch." When we went out to LA for like a couple weeks there, Tammy and I, and I'm like, let's make it happen. So we went over and had lunch with Kevin, and Kevin was like, dude, I was looking at Regetti this long ago. Everybody was telling me not to buy it. And I think that was, Kevin, you were saying that you got into Regetti very early. So shout out to Kevin. Kevin's a stock mate as well. Happy to have you in the group, Kevin. Saw you were able to get into that trade we're in this morning. Just doing well. Cool. All right, so let's take a look at lunar, LUNR. I like LUNR, and there's a couple reasons why. When we're looking at, that's ASTS. That's ASTS. But ASTS is cool. They're doing the 5G cellular broadband, where they're deploying satellites and they're opening them up to provide 5G down to cellular devices down on Earth, anywhere in the world. Kind of like Starlink, but for phones. ASTS, that's an interesting one. But I was trying to pull up lunar stock. Let's see, LUNR. Okay, so that's the ticker. Oh, right, it's Intuitive Machines. All right, here we are. So Intuitive Machines actually has some really interesting lunar missions. They've been launching these research facilities, or things that are actually drilling into the cores, not the cores, but the taking core samples, or drilling down into the moon and different planets to look for materials that we would like to use down on Earth. So, like, imagine you have a lunar lander. It finds a water source, or it finds a rare earth material that could open up a $1 trillion industry, which is asteroid mining, or like planet mining, which is kind of crazy. But Intuitive Machines also works with NASA on a lot of stuff. So they've had some cool releases. And let's take a look at their financials, because right now, if you look at their chart, they're still beaten down a little bit. They're down to the support around $8. We've been covering them for a while. And we've been looking for a recovery on lunar stock to see them get back up into what would be $15 to $20 a share. Personally, I have some long-term positions in lunar stock in the Schwab portfolio. And just in their shorter trend that we see here, they do have this trend, okay, that they're looking to recover up into that $10 to $15 range right now. And they have a support level at about $7.50. They're currently at $9.69. So they're looking to get up into that $15 range. I like that play because the margin for profit on this company, if that plays out, is 50% margins. And to previous highs, we're looking at pretty good margins. Their market cap is $1.7 billion. So when we look at market caps revenue, bringing in 50 million a quarter, which is 250 million a year, which is going to put them at growing revenue year over year quite substantially by more than 20%. We're actually looking at about 20% year over year. They're up about 186% on revenue year over year right now. So they're seeing demand for their product. Not only that, but they're actually seeing their total assets rise while their liabilities have gone down. You can see cash and short-term investments are up to 344 million, total assets up to 475 million, with total liabilities a very small fraction of that at 184 million. So they have plenty of investments in them right now. And then we've seen them get some contracts recently. They did do a public offering, which that doesn't always sit well when companies raise money. It's part of the game, especially for space companies. But they did just secure a $9.8 million contract, and that has not shown up in their earnings yet because, that just happened back here in July. So we'll see in their next earnings call. So what's going on, Dean? Good evening. What's going on? I see Biggie is here. Biggie says CLNE. Simbad's here. I'll take a look at those in just a second. But to wrap up Lunar, the support's at 970 and resistance at $15. Valuation seems to be potentially undervalued. From a what could be perspective, financials are maybe a little overextended still. Cool. All right, so Phantom Drifter says huge quantum bubble on IonQ. The PE is wild. I remember in the 90s where AOL traded for over $220 plus. A friend that worked for them had massive profits. She held and then lost a fortune. Yeah, I mean, that'll happen to you. I was actually really proud of a lot of our stock mates inside of our live trading or investors that work with us. Or just here on YouTube, like all the comments of people like, great, Will, we see them continue up today, but I sold all my Regetti or I sold a big portion of my shorter term trades. Don't beat yourself up if you missed out on the 100% over the last week, because look, you probably, like a lot of those people that commented told me that they made 300%, they made 200%. Those are returns that are very great. When you get up on a stock and you're up in hundreds of percentage points and you didn't already plan on holding it long term, excellent. Yeah, take some profits. Why not? For sure. And also, I mean, I don't disagree with you. The Phantom Thrifter is right on the valuations on quantum. They're pricing in as if we are about 5 years from now. So I get it. I totally get it. And that's true. The word bubble is quite common, right? What happens is they do provide more value. So I don't take bubble lightly, but I do agree there is a little bit of one. What I don't think there's a bubble in right now is AI. I don't think there's a bubble. And space tech, I don't think there's a bubble. I think we are just getting started. And the reality of the market is that there's never been a time when companies are creating something that is valuable for the market and for the world faster than in the day and age that we're in right now. And honestly, people that are always saying it's a bubble, it's overvalued, they always end up missing out. And that's why people stay poor a lot of times, because they don't know how to analyze a market and look at things not just right now, but where things are going to be 3 years, 5 years from now. And the highest returns that you're going to make is going to be removing the noise. Don't listen to everybody that's on YouTube. Like I tell you, like, you don't have to listen. Don't listen to, if I ever say something like, I'm buying this, that is not something you should listen to as advice for what you could do. I could tell you what we do, but I don't know if that's going to work for your strategy. I don't know if that's going to work for your portfolio. And frankly, we're here to just provide you insights and get you on the right track. So yeah, I'm not here to tell you what to buy. So good evening. Okay, we got lunar stock, and then what was the next one? BBAI. We went over it, uncompromised one. We dropped that one in. Got a few for plug and then CLNE. So let's take a look here. Cool. Cool. Kevin says, Will, can you look at WIMI? All right. Let me start off with that. Which one did we just look at? Plug. I've got some plug. We need to pull the plug on this plug here. Okay, wow. Plug power. It's been highly manipulated in the past. Whoever brought it up. Who was it? Who was uncompromised one brought it up, but somebody else brought it up too. So here's the deal with plug. It's been highly manipulated in the past. See that? And it's sold off. It's depleting right now. It's starting to get a little bit of a push up. But let's take a look at what this company's got going on financially before we jump into anything. Plug stock. And $2.5 billion market cap. Are they in natural gas? Hydrogen fuel cell? Ooh. Are their revenues increasing since 2023 or decreasing? There we go. And then what's it on track for 2025? Maybe 160 million. So, wow. Wait, no, not 160 million, 600 million, excuse me. They're seeing declining revenues, and I'll tell you why. They're seeing declining revenues in the plug power, in the hydrogen, and I'll tell you, there's a few reasons. And look at this. You see year over year how their total assets are shrinking. You see how their total assets are shrinking. They're having less and less cash, and liabilities are going up. See that? And then not only that, their net income has been increasingly negative each year. See how their net income went negative 2 billion there? So this is, if it's up, I see a lot of hype right now on these articles. People are like, buy this before it's too late. Don't miss this. But I don't think hydrogen is in the same realm as natural gas, personally. I think natural gas, and the reason we say that is because, like, if you missed 2008 recovery after the stocks dipped, or the dot-com bubble after that, when the recovery happened, or in 2020 when the AI tech rallied after that correction during the C word there, then I'm gonna say that hydrogen is not in one of those positions right now. And the reason why is they're probably going to continue to decline is because the cost basis, the cost effectiveness is just not there for the companies that were using hydrogen. That's why you see them decline, hold below that 200-day moving average, rejection, because essentially it might go up, like it could be getting pumped. But I was just on the phone with my dad a while ago, because my dad, when I was growing up, he used to do, and he still works in capacity on the underground systems for all gas stations. They work with Chevron, primarily, all the companies that have underground systems. And he's seen like things come and go. And I was talking to him. I said, Dad, what's the deal with hydrogen? He said, it's out. It's not cost effective. It's a pain. And all of the Chevrons and all of the gas stations that would provide it are moving away from the hydrogen. And the reason is the cost, but also natural gas is way more efficient. And natural gas is where they're going as opposed to gasoline. And the company that is doing that, which I think I even saw a comment. Did somebody comment CLNE? CLN. Yeah, Biggie commented. There it is. CLNE. This is probably the company I would watch if I was trying to invest in fueling. They've had a similar sell down, and they're almost in the same position technically from the chart perspective. But CLNE, this is actually the interesting part is they do the natural gas, and natural gas is good because like if you do hydrogen, once you deliver it, if it doesn't get used, they don't have a backup plan for that. Um, Whereas if you deliver um, natural gas, not hydrogen, but natural gas, then they can use that for also like the local town. They could use it for the local city. And so I haven't seen any big declines at all in the revenues on the natural gas. In fact, we're seeing them continue to increase. They've had a little bit of a decline there on quarterly, but annually you can see they're really increasing their total assets, and it doesn't look as bearish. And when I talked to my dad about that, which was an interesting conversation, he said natural gas is still getting a lot of momentum, and there's a lot of initiatives for them to roll it out at more gas stations. So hey, that's what's going on there. CLNE might be a better play, and that kind of like gave an analysis there for Biggie as well. And there it is. Kevin says, Kevin started buying Regetti too and wrote it all the way down to 83 cents. Tremendous. Plug has Walmart, Amazon, and Home Depot as customers. They probably could have Chevron as customers, but if we don't see them continue to build their revenues, they're having a rough time right now based on what we see. So, and they've been pretty manipulated in the past there. Rezolve AI from Improvement. You've been buying this. Rezolve AI, I'll pull it up for you. Improvement, Mr. Improvement. But this is what you need to know about that company. What is it? RZLV. I'm not going to go into the chart, and I'll tell you why. They've had increasingly negative net income, and their balance sheet has more liabilities than assets. Okay. So they're actually on the verge of bankruptcy from a financial perspective. But they are getting a lot of hype in the articles on Yahoo Finance. So right now they got more liabilities than assets, so I wouldn't touch them. All right, so what is the other one? So we have Eunice Rodriguez says EOSE, and I feel like we might have missed one up there. We did Redwire. Two Brothers said APLD. Okay, we got to jump into APLD because APLD is one we hold, and I haven't looked at it today. $20 a share, and it's at the resistance level at $20. Nearest resistance or previous resistance it had was right here around 1750. That's going to be its next level of support. Actually, even higher than that. You could see a previous resistance in this uptrend here at about, it's at $20.50, but it has a support at $19.80, which is a previous resistance. If it can't hold there, next support level is at 1750. Those are the levels to watch, Two Brothers. And obviously, we'd like to see it continue. RSI MACD looking okay, slightly overbought at the moment. Part of why APLD most likely I think is going to be good in the long term, and I have positions, is simply because when you look at demand for AI increasing, APLD is at the forefront as they're building data centers for CoreWeave and for big tech companies. Data centers are what power the chat GPTs, the internet, the AI, and they're working on reducing carbon footprint, but working with liquid cooling, constructing these data centers with wind turbines, solar, anything they can do to bring the workloads directly to the point of generation. And they're partnered with Supermicro Computer Okay, so data centers are big for Supermicro. NVIDIA, Dell Technologies, Intel, Hewlett Packard are the top companies they're working with. So they have really good growth trajectories right now with a market cap of 5 billion, 5.3 billion. We started covering them around 1 billion, I believe. I think it might have been $3 or $4 a share. They actually have increasing revenues year over year. They had some negative net income, but they haven't seen these deals they recently signed show up on their balance sheet. So now balance sheet is total assets 1.87 billion on the balance sheet. So things looking pretty good there for APLD. So again, in the charts, they're at a resistance, but hyper bull trend support there at about $19.50. And then institutional buying on APLD, we've seen it increase as of recently. Most of the time when I'll do analysis over here on Mercatus, APLD is pretty bullish. Let's see what we got. It's pulling financials, tying relativity, it's skimming press releases. What else do we got here in the chat? Awesome. Okay, and we got $10. Appreciate you, man. You don't have to send me money. I appreciate it. Uncompromised one. Thanks for tuning in. BBAI and quantum computing. You brought this to light for me. I owe you a lot more. You don't owe me anything. I really appreciate. Thank you so much for like tuning in. I've been seeing you for months. Like you're literally hard. You're a hard worker. I've been seeing you since like January on the channel, or maybe when I started the channel, like November. You're always here and you're always up to date on the stocks. It makes sense that you had massive returns. Like I can like I know you're in it because wasn't we were just looking inside of Stockmate, right? If you guys ever want to tune in live, see our live trading, you can always tune in to the live trading at Market Open. We're there Monday through Friday. It's the second link in the description. And what I was looking at was someone commented, I think it was Lee commented on an earnings for BBAI, or maybe it was, let me just search if I could find it. Lee is a pretty deep analyst on BBAI, and we have over 27 individuals with a net worth of over $1 million here in Stockmate. So the insights are really good. And here it was. Lee posted this article where it was a LinkedIn article, right, for Big Bear about how they're expanding in 2025, working to build out infrastructure for the 2028 Olympics and the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And I'm going through this on LinkedIn and I'm scrolling through and I'm looking at the people that are involved and liking the post and seeing. And I'm scrolling through these names, people getting free publicity here. And I swear, I'm scrolling through. I swear, I could be hallucinating. But I remember I'm scrolling through here, I'm looking at the names, and I see you. I see the guy that just commented said that he thanks me for his success, and I'm like, dude, I literally saw you here already at this article checking it out before I found it. So like you're obviously deep in it. I'd have to like find you. I know you're around. You're somewhere around here. I'm sure I'd be able to find your profile. Or am I crazy? Was that you? And Gene Inger's there too. Gene comments on the channel all the time. I was laughing because I'm like, literally Stockmates are already here on the LinkedIn article before we even found it. It was hilarious. How to join improvement says, if you want to join Stockmate, it's the second link in the description below. And you'll get access to our live trading on Monday. And then I'll also send you a free t-shirt there if you want it. Anywhere in the world. If you want a free t-shirt, I'll shoot it over to you. Stockmate t-shirt. Yeah, okay, it was you. He says, I'm deep in it. Yes, I do my homework. Okay, I knew it was you. I saw the same profile and I was like, man, this guy, I see him on my YouTube and I see him on LinkedIn. It was so funny. I'm like, you are grinding. Damn. So again, like I know people say like, Will, thanks for covering it since $1 a share, Rigetti or APLD in this case, or Rocket Lab, $3 a share or whatever. But like I'm telling you, the insights and the reasons that we find the stocks is you. It's literally you, okay? But I appreciate you. Thank you. I guess there is some element of you've seen us go through like 10 stocks today where like we've just been like, nope, liability's really bad or red flags, and we throw them to the side. So I think probably where the value is probably where we cut through the noise and make it easier for you to find good deals faster. That's probably where the value is, but ultimately like you guys are the deal finders too. I love it. Okay. So the other one, Kevin says, Kevin's looking, or Oklo After Dark wants Oklo. Kevin, Oklo has got a couple SMR and Oklo. I like Oklo and SMR long-term plays. Financials aren't lined up. We can go into them. But Kevin wants to take a look at WIMI. Let's take a look. WIMI. Let's see. Super manipulated in the past, Kevin. We see it sell down, start to build a little bit of market cap up to $5 a share. I'm going to start off with the financials, and just for reference, there's a few companies that I don't invest in, at least heavily, but I do allocate small portions of my portfolios occasionally. For the most part, I don't invest too much in Chinese stocks. But let's take a look. $1.4 billion. And revenue is around $200 million a quarter, but declining since 2021. Declining in revenue. Oh, it looks like they're a Taiwanese company. So they could be potentially good. Okay, $1.6 billion total assets. Yeah. Okay. And their market cap is what? 1.4 billion. And they're bringing in how much quarterly? 214 million. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, PE ratio is favorable. So Warren Buffett, I mean, like I said, we use the same frameworks as Warren Buffett. Like, we'll apply them on shorter term investments, right? But we only trade shorter term plays that we're already invested in long term for the most part. And general rule of thumb from Warren is PE ratio $20 or 20 or below for the PE ratio, 20 or below. We see 13 there. So they're definitely, from a valuation standpoint, could be good. Let's take a look. Not any crazy hype for them. It's called Himax. I accidentally searched Himax. Himax. Let's see. Himax. There we go. Let's see. Semiconductor from Taiwan. I like it. I mean, they're in a really good market. That's going to be a growing market for sure. Part of the reason why we like it is because, for those of you guys not familiar, semiconductors drive NVIDIA, they drive Broadcom, they drive, which are, I just mentioned, 2 top 7 companies in the world. They drive Apple, they drive Tesla. Semiconductors are the backbone of AI, right? So when it comes to this company, financials look pretty good. We got to take a look, I guess, at their press releases that they've had come out. And they don't go so hot on press releases. It looks like they're more just like, here's our financials, which is okay. Okay, well, let's take a look at the chart. It's really down sold here, starting to push up. Okay. Yeah, Kevin, so overall direction is up since June. They are breaking out of a resistance right now, which might actually be a better indication to watch. Previous support right there, previous resistance here in May, resistance back in July. Whoa. And they're kind of breaking out above it right now. So that $5 support or resistance is a key level. If they're going to continue the trend upward that they're in, it's not a bad play, but you got resistance at 530, according to this recent uptrend. You got a pullback conservatively, maybe like 480 down to potentially $4 a share or 430. And they're looking to make a run and hold that $5 range. Conservatively, I would expect a potential pull down in this trend. If it's going to hold true, it would be healthy to see a 9 to 10% pull down to 442 and continue up. But I think over the next few months, it looks like they're building some market cap. Financials look good. Semiconductors are a good place to be. So if you find value discrepancies in any companies related to semiconductors, it's usually a good indication. It's a good deal, usually. But you also got to look at products that they're providing and say, okay, where are they partnered? Where are they providing to? So you can get an idea there. But yeah, cool. I like it, Kevin. Thanks for tuning in and sharing that. Nice. Okay, Steven. Holographic stuff is my thing, so I jumped in. I like, and that's MLGO, got it. Yeah, I like holographic stuff too. It's one of my favorite things. When I was younger, I used to always say like phones are going to be straight up glass at one point. It's already kind of happening. 50-cent stock NUAI has memoranda of understanding and letters of intent for a 1,600-mile high-capacity fiber network across Texas. Letter of its intent doesn't indicate that they are going to make it happen. And fiber network. It's good. It could be good, but think about this. Satellites like Starlink, for example, is running this live stream right now at like 200 megabytes a second from space. So there's a lot of space companies that could disrupt fiber networks, fiber optic networks. And I don't know if that's something related to AI though, and connecting data centers, because I know there's some data centers in Texas. So that could be interesting to watch. And their ticker symbol is NUAI. So I kind of like that. Maybe that's what that means. And they were up 20% today. They look like a penny stock. So I would urge caution, anybody watching at the moment. $14 million market cap, my friend, not 50. $14 million market cap. Revenue $200K a quarter. They're not bringing in any money. They're losing money pretty aggressively. But yeah, $200K a quarter. And liabilities are greater than their assets right now. So on the risk of bankruptcy from a financial standpoint. And looks like they previously maybe were a helium company and then changed into a different company for digital, which is a little bit of a red flag. And they've been manipulated and pumped, and you could see them declining. So I probably wouldn't touch the stock for those reasons. Hopefully that makes sense and it's helpful for you. Steven says, I don't think MLGO is holographic, is my point. I think MLGO does weird, sneaky ad stuff to your phone. Interesting. We'll take a look. Oh, WIMI, they own MLGO. Got it. Okay. Thank you. Got it. That's good to know. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. And when it comes to the growth we've seen on the channel, tremendous. We are growing super fast. Can't thank you enough. And I think in part of that is you guys being here and showing up, investing with us. We've had a monster year and it's been tremendous so far. I'm looking forward to finishing the year strong. If you are still maybe struggling with any of the moves you've seen recently, you don't understand why stocks are moving the way that they're moving, or you are trying to get a grasp on what's good investments throughout this AI boom, or where to invest in space, tech, or quantum, I would encourage you to simply have a look at the second link in the description for StockMate. It's our live trading session. You can join us there at market open every day, Monday through Friday. It's the second link below, and I'll send you a free t-shirt. The other thing you get there is, if you want to, check out the reveal of the machine. We are using it quite often. The past few months, we've been updating it super fast. We got SEC filings recently added there. We can get any stock projections via Grok or OpenAI with the best models by defaults, and we can search the stocks. We can also visualize different markets here and see how companies are connected, and we use it quite often. You can see the different quantum companies. If I'm jumping in here and I wanted to take a look at some of these companies, you can see how they're connected in energy. We use this thing and we're starting to build it out. Big Bear AI, how they're partnered with Palantir, all those things. And you can actually go and get the analysis of the stock. So I could pull up BBAI. It's analyzing the charts. It's looking at the financials. It's looking at all of that for me and tying the relativity to the projection, and then giving me projections for the stock based on that information. So it considers institutional holdings. It's doing a detailed analysis right now. It considers insider holdings. It considers the news, all those things, and does the analysis for us. So it's a really powerful tool, and it's the number one tool that I'm using right now to streamline my analysis. So if you ever want to tune on in, it's the first link in the description to get the full reveal of beta access to the machine. So again, first link for beta access to the machine, second link for our daily live trading sessions. If I earned your thumbs up, smash the like button. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great Friday. And I shall see you guys in the next video. Take care.